Have you ever felt something strange in your body and told yourself it was nothing? A moment of weakness, a word that wouldn't come out right, or a brief wave of dizziness that disappeared before you could even think about it? A patient of mine once shared a story just like that. She told me she felt her hand slip off a coffee mug one morning, just for a second, but because it passed quickly, she convinced herself it was stress or fatigue. I want you to imagine this with me. You're sitting at your kitchen table, starting your day, and suddenly your vision blurs for a few heartbeats, then clears as if nothing happened. Most people shrug it off, but what if that tiny moment was your brain whispering a warning you were never taught to recognize? Many seniors believe strokes come out of nowhere, striking without any sign or preparation. But medical evidence and decades of clinical experience tell a different story. The truth is that strokes rarely arrive unannounced. Hours, days, and sometimes even weeks beforehand, the brain sends subtle signals. These signals are often brief and mild, like numbness that fades, a sentence that comes out jumbled, or a sudden fatigue that feels deeper than usual. These early warnings matter because a stroke is, at its core, a crisis of blood flow. When oxygen to the brain is interrupted even for a moment, the brain responds with tiny flashes of distress. Those flashes are not random. They are your body's cry for help. Its way of saying something is not right. Yet most older adults overlook these signs. They are painless. They are easy to explain away. They feel like everyday moments of aging or stress. But ignoring these signals can delay life-saving care and increase the risk of long-term disability. In this video, I want to reveal the earliest signs before a stroke, the hidden truths seniors never hear, why these signals appear, how to respond the moment they happen, and how this understanding can protect your independence, your memory, and your future. Your body has protected you for decades. Now it's sending signs to protect your independence. My hope is that today, you will learn to listen. In the next part, we will explore exactly how the brain sends these warnings and why they matter more than you think. The brain's warning system, how early signs actually work. Before we talk about specific warning signs, I want to take you inside the remarkable system that is your brain. I want you to picture it not as a mysterious organ tucked inside your skull, but as the command center that has guided every memory, every conversation, every step you have taken for decades. Your brain is alive with electrical signals and constant communication, but none of that can happen without one essential ingredient: oxygen-rich blood. Your brain needs a steady, uninterrupted stream of blood every second of your life. Not once in your entire lifetime has your brain taken a break from that need. That is why even the slightest interruption can create sudden, noticeable changes. Some seniors describe these moments as slips or glitches. A hand that stops responding normally, a word that feels stuck, or a moment when the room tilts for no clear reason. These are not random. They are the brain's alarm system. What's fascinating is that the brain tries to warn you long before a major stroke occurs. Sometimes a tiny clot passes through and briefly blocks a vessel. Sometimes a blood vessel spasms or narrows for just a few seconds. When that happens, the brain area responsible for movement, speech, vision, or balance suddenly loses oxygen. Because the blockage is temporary, the symptoms fade. People feel normal again within moments, and that is exactly why these warnings are often ignored. In medicine, we call these episodes transient ischemic attacks, often called mini-strokes. But the truth is, many seniors experience them without realizing what they are. They think the brain has recovered, but in reality, the brain is sending a desperate message. It is saying, something is wrong, pay attention. Each of these little episodes is like a preview, a rehearsal for a major event that could be prevented if caught early. To make this easier to understand, imagine a lamp flickering when there's a problem with the power supply. The lamp doesn't flicker for fun. It flickers because the wiring is stressed. Your brain works the same way. Weakness, confusion, blurred vision, or trouble speaking are flickers. They are signals of stress in your neurological wiring caused by a moment of reduced blood flow. These moments matter because the brain can only function normally when oxygen is abundant. When that flow drops, even briefly, the affected brain cells struggle to communicate. That's why you might suddenly forget a word, lose balance, or feel numbness on one side. These symptoms are the direct expression of brain cells fighting to keep up. The challenge is that most older adults assume these quick changes are harmless. They believe the body is simply tired or aging, but aging does not cause sudden slurred speech. Aging does not cause momentary vision loss. Aging does not cause one-sided numbness. These are neurological red flags, and they deserve immediate attention. Understanding how these early signs work is the first step toward prevention. When you know why these warning signals appear, you're far more likely to notice them in yourself or someone you love. And noticing them could be the difference between catching a problem early and facing a life-changing stroke. In the next part, we will explore the exact early warning signs seniors most often miss, and why these subtle shifts in the body are so important to recognize before it's too late. Early stroke warning signs. Many seniors miss. Now that you understand how the brain sends out its early distress signals, I want to guide you through the specific signs that so many older adults experience without realizing what they truly mean. These moments rarely feel dramatic. Often, they last just a few seconds. But those seconds carry weight. They are like small whispers from your brain, trying to get your attention before something far more serious occurs. One of the most common early signs is sudden numbness or weakness, usually on one side of the body. Many seniors describe this as their arm feeling asleep, or their hand suddenly becoming clumsy. Some feel a brief heaviness in one leg or a pulling sensation around the mouth. Because the feeling fades quickly, most people brush it aside. But when weakness affects only one side, even for a moment, that is a sign that the brain area controlling movement briefly lost its oxygen supply. That tiny interruption matters. It is never random. Another warning sign that regularly slips past people is short episodes of slurred or jumbled speech. You might try to say something simple and hear the wrong word come out, or you may feel your tongue is not cooperating the way it should. So many seniors tell me, "I was tired," or "I just woke up," or "I wasn't paying attention." But speech is one of the most delicate and complex brain functions we have. When your words come out wrong or sound unusual, even briefly, your brain is struggling. It is not just fatigue, it is a signal. Vision changes are another early indicator many older adults misunderstand. You may suddenly see double for a few seconds, things may blur, or part of your vision may go dark, as if something is blocking your line of sight. Most people assume it is their glasses, their eyes, or dryness. But strokes interfere with the brain's ability to process what the eyes see. So when your vision suddenly shifts, even for a moment, it is often neurological. These moments are brief, but they should never be ignored. Sudden dizziness or loss of balance also appears often before a stroke. This isn't the slow, lightheaded feeling you might get from standing up too quickly. This is a deeper, more disorienting sensation. It can feel as though the room suddenly tilts, as if your body is not responding the way you expect. When this kind of dizziness happens out of nowhere, it usually means the brain's coordination centers were briefly deprived of oxygen. Many seniors chalk this up to age or dehydration, but the timing and intensity can reveal something far more important. Another warning sign that often surprises people is sudden, unexplained fatigue. I'm not talking about end-of-day tiredness or the exhaustion that comes after physical activity. This is a wave of fatigue that comes on quickly, without warning, and feels out of proportion to what you were doing. Many seniors experience this and assume they are aging or pushing themselves too hard. But sudden extreme fatigue can be the brain's way of saying it is under stress. When the brain struggles, the whole body feels it. One-sided facial drooping that fades within seconds is also a crucial sign that many people ignore. You might notice your smile looks uneven, or feel a brief sagging sensation in your cheek. Because it disappears quickly, most people dismiss it. But even brief facial changes are significant. They usually mean that the area of the brain controlling facial muscles experienced a short drop in blood flow. This is one of the clearest signs of a transient ischemic episode or mini-stroke. And then there is brief confusion or trouble understanding speech. This one is often overlooked because it feels subtle. You might lose your train of thought suddenly. You might struggle to follow what someone is saying, or you may feel like your mind went blank for a moment. Older adults often attribute these episodes to distraction, stress, or multitasking. But when confusion appears suddenly and without explanation, the brain is signaling a problem. These signs are not meant to scare you. They are cues. They are reminders that your brain depends on smooth, constant blood flow every second. When that flow falters, even briefly, your body reacts. The tragedy is that many seniors ignore these moments because the symptoms vanish quickly. But fading does not mean safe. Fading often means the brain recovered temporarily, not that the problem disappeared. Recognizing these early signs requires awareness, not panic. It requires understanding your body, paying attention to patterns, and trusting that these small moments matter. With knowledge comes power. With awareness comes protection. In the next part, we will explore why so many seniors overlook these crucial signs every day, and how beliefs, habits, and fears can silence the body's warnings long before a stroke occurs. Why seniors overlook these signs every day. As we walk deeper into this topic, there's something important we need to acknowledge. Most seniors who overlook these warning signs are not careless. They are not ignoring their health out of neglect. In truth, they are doing what they have always done throughout their lives. They are staying strong, pushing forward, and convincing themselves that small discomforts are nothing to worry about. This instinct to minimize symptoms is common, understandable, and deeply human. But when it comes to stroke, it can also be incredibly dangerous. One of the biggest reasons these signs are overlooked is that they are painless. We grow up believing that danger comes with discomfort, that serious medical problems must hurt, but the brain is different. The brain has no pain receptors. When something goes wrong, the signals it sends are not sharp or agonizing. They are subtle disruptions in function. A slurred word, a drifting arm, a moment of blurred vision. Moments that do not hurt often do not feel threatening, and that is exactly why they are easy to dismiss. Then there is the belief that aging naturally brings moments of confusion, tiredness, or clumsiness. I've heard this countless times. My memory isn't what it used to be. I lose my balance sometimes, but that's just age. I get tired faster these days. While some gradual changes are normal, sudden and short-lived neurological shifts are not part of normal aging. Aging does not cause your speech to suddenly distort. It does not make your vision disappear. It does not make one side of your face droop for a moment. Those are neurological events, not aging. Fear also plays a quiet but powerful role in why these warnings are overlooked. Not the kind of fear that makes us scream or hide, but the softer fear that whispers, "I hope it's nothing." Many seniors tell themselves a comforting story because the alternative feels overwhelming. They worry about losing independence, burdening their families, or discovering something serious. So their mind chooses the explanation that feels less frightening. It was just fatigue. Maybe I got up too fast. I must have slept funny. Fear doesn't always look like panic. Sometimes it looks like silence. Another reason is habit. Many older adults grew up during a time when people did not rush to the doctor for every concern. You toughed it out. You waited. You pushed through. That resilience shaped entire generations, and it's a strength I deeply admire. But when it comes to early stroke signs, waiting is not an act of strength. It is a risk. The brain does not give many chances before a major event. Those early warnings are windows that close quickly. There is also the problem of normalization. When a symptom happens more than once and nothing terrible immediately follows, people begin to assume it is harmless. A brief moment of weakness becomes something that happens sometimes. A flash of confusion becomes nothing to worry about. Over time, the brain's warnings blend into the background of daily life. But repetition does not mean safety. Repetition often means progression. Communication is another barrier that surprises many families. Seniors often struggle to describe these episodes. Because the symptoms are quick and subtle, they feel hard to explain. Many tell themselves, it's not worth mentioning, especially if they don't want to worry loved ones. But silence around these symptoms allows dangerous patterns to grow unnoticed. And sometimes, people simply trust the recovery too much. When a symptom disappears, it feels like the problem has resolved. But in the world of stroke, fading symptoms do not equal healing. They equal instability. They mean the brain barely regained its balance. They mean the next episode could be longer, stronger, or permanent. All these reasons are rooted in human nature: optimism, resilience, independence, fear, pride, generational values, and love for family. They reflect strength, not weakness. But they also show why stroke education is so essential. When seniors understand what these signs truly mean, their perspective shifts. It becomes easier to treat a moment of numbness as meaningful. It becomes clearer that a few seconds of slurred speech deserve attention. And it becomes possible to see these symptoms not as inconveniences, but as gifts. Warnings given early enough to prevent something life-changing. Awareness is not about living in fear. It is about living with clarity. Recognizing these signs does not diminish independence. It protects it. It ensures that you stay in control of your mobility, your speech, your memory, and your ability to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to build. In the next part, I want to share some real stories from my years in practice. Stories of people who experienced these early signs and what happened next. Some recognized the warnings in time, others didn't, and their journeys revealed just how powerful these subtle moments can be. Real-life stories. Whenever I talk about the early signs of a stroke, I think of the real lives behind those symptoms. These are not abstract ideas or medical theories. They are people I have cared for, sat beside, and walked through some of their hardest moments with. Their stories remind me why these subtle warnings matter so deeply and why I speak about them with such passion. I want to share a few of those stories with you today, not to frighten you, but to help you understand just how powerful and meaningful these early signs can be. The first person who comes to mind is Helen. She was 71, intelligent, warm, and full of grace. I remember the way she laughed, gently covering her mouth as if she didn't want the world to see too much joy at once. For weeks, she experienced small slips in her speech. She told me she would try to say a simple word like morning and hear something entirely different come out. The episodes lasted only seconds. She blamed them on talking too fast, on being preoccupied, on aging. One morning, she tried to order her breakfast at a cafe and couldn't form a full sentence the way she meant to. Within moments, her speech returned to normal. She brushed it off, thinking it was simply fatigue. A week later, she suffered a major stroke that affected the very part of the brain that controls speech. With therapy, she regained much of her voice, but not all of it. One day, during a follow-up visit, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I thought those little slips were nothing. I wish I had known." Her words echo in my mind every time I talk about these signs. Those little slips were her brain's warnings. Another story I often think about is Robert, a 68-year-old retired truck driver. He was stubborn in a loving, old-fashioned kind of way, fiercely independent, and always quick with a joke. One afternoon while driving home, he suddenly lost vision in his right eye for about 10 seconds. The world went dim on one side. It frightened him, but by the time he reached for the radio to call his wife, his vision had already returned. He convinced himself it must have been glare from the sun. Weeks passed before it happened again, this time at home while watching television. His vision blurred, doubled, then cleared. His wife insisted they go to the hospital. Tests revealed he had experienced multiple transient ischemic attacks. A major artery leading to his brain was narrowing, cutting off oxygen in short bursts. He stood only a few steps away from a life-changing stroke. Because he finally sought help, we were able to intervene. He later told me, "I thought 10 seconds meant nothing, but 10 seconds was everything." Then there was Linda, a grandmother who adored baking cookies with her grandkids. She brushed off the numbness in her right hand for nearly 6 months. She said it happened mostly at night when she was resting. The sensation always faded, so she blamed it on sleeping wrong or overusing her wrist while sewing. When she finally came to see me, she admitted she had been ignoring the symptoms out of fear. She didn't want to worry her children, and she didn't want to imagine something serious happening to her. Her scan revealed she had suffered multiple microstrokes. Each one left a small mark on her brain, warnings she had unknowingly lived through again and again. She cried when she realized how long her body had been trying to talk to her. She looked at me and said, "I didn't want to make a big deal out of something small." But those small things were not small at all. And then there was Marie, a woman full of kindness and quiet strength. She came into my office exhausted, certain she was simply aging. She described sudden waves of overwhelming fatigue that would hit her like a heavy curtain, forcing her to sit down immediately. She believed she had been overexerting herself, that perhaps she wasn't sleeping well, or maybe her diet had been off. But her description was not the tiredness of a long day. It was the exhaustion of a brain under stress. Her scans showed early signs of restricted blood flow. These episodes were her brain struggling to stay afloat. Marie later suffered a mild stroke, one that affected her coordination. With dedication and therapy, she recovered well. But she often told me, "I thought my body was just slowing down. I didn't know it was crying for help." I share these stories because they show how ordinary these warning signs can feel. They happen while you're cooking, doing chores, reading, or simply waking up. They come in moments so small you almost forget they happened. They feel explainable. They feel harmless. And that is exactly what makes them dangerous. These stories also show something else. Recognizing these signs early can change the entire outcome. It can protect speech, movement, memory, independence, and your ability to enjoy the life you've built. When we listen to our bodies, we give ourselves a chance to intervene before the brain is pushed beyond its limits. In the next part, I will guide you through the practical steps you can take immediately if you ever notice these signs in yourself or someone you love. These simple actions have saved lives, preserved independence, and given countless seniors the chance to keep writing new chapters in their story. Practical solutions: what seniors should do immediately. After hearing these stories, you might be wondering what you should actually do if these early signs ever appear in your own life or in someone you love. Knowledge is powerful, but it becomes life-saving only when paired with action. The truth is, you don't need medical training or complicated tools to respond wisely. What you need most is awareness, confidence, and the willingness to listen to what your body is telling you. Whenever I teach seniors about stroke prevention, I start with something simple. I call it the 60-second check. It is a calm, gentle way to give yourself a quick neurological assessment right in the moment when something feels off. If you suddenly feel numbness, weakness, confusion, or something that doesn't feel quite right, pause. Take a slow breath, then try smiling and notice whether both sides of your face move evenly. Speak a simple sentence and listen to how the words come out. Slowly raise both arms and see if one drifts or feels heavier than the other. Look around the room and pay attention to whether your vision feels sharp or balanced. This 1 minute of awareness can reveal everything you need to know. If even one part of that check feels unusual, uneven, or difficult, treat it seriously. These signs are not accidents. They are neurological events. They are the brain signaling a struggle for oxygen. And when the brain talks, we must listen. If any sudden neurological change appears, even if it lasts only seconds, the safest response is to call 911. Not your regular doctor, not urgent care. Emergency services. Paramedics can begin evaluation the moment they arrive, and hospitals have stroke pathways designed to move fast. In stroke care, every minute saved protects brain cells. Calling early can mean walking again, speaking again, remembering again. It can mean the difference between a full recovery and a lifelong disability. But responding in the moment is only part of the solution. Prevention is just as important. And fortunately, the choices that protect your brain are often simple, gentle adjustments that support your entire body. One of the most powerful tools you have is managing your blood pressure. Many seniors experience spikes they never feel. That is why keeping track of your blood pressure at home, once in the morning and once in the evening, can provide priceless information. When you watch the pattern, you begin to see the story your heart is telling you. And when something changes, you can act before it becomes dangerous. Your diet also plays a meaningful role in protecting your brain. Reducing sodium and processed foods lowers stress on your arteries. Limiting late-night sugar helps stabilize your blood pressure and reduces nighttime inflammation. Drinking water steadily throughout the day keeps your blood flowing smoothly rather than thickening from dehydration. And choosing foods like leafy greens, berries, nuts, whole grains, and omega-rich fish nourishes your brain and supports healthier vessels. Movement is another gentle form of medicine. You don't need intense workouts. Even a 10-minute walk after meals improves circulation and lowers stroke risk. I've seen seniors regain energy, better sleep, and clearer thinking simply by moving their bodies a little more each day. Small steps truly matter, sometimes more than we realize. Sleep is another pillar of prevention that often gets overlooked. Poor sleep, especially sleep apnea or fragmented sleep, puts tremendous strain on the heart and brain. Creating a calming evening routine, reducing late-night screen time, and keeping a consistent bedtime schedule can make a world of difference. And if you snore heavily or wake up gasping, a sleep study can uncover problems that, once treated, dramatically reduce stroke risk. There are also medical tests worth discussing with your doctor after 60. A carotid ultrasound can detect narrowing in the arteries that supply your brain. Heart rhythm monitoring can detect atrial fibrillation, a major cause of stroke that many people don't even feel. Cholesterol and glucose testing reveal silent risks long before symptoms appear. And when any early neurological sign shows up, brain imaging can identify whether the brain has already experienced small strokes that were never noticed. But beyond the tests and routines, the most powerful tool you have is trust. Trust in your body, trust in your instincts, trust in the quiet voice inside that tells you something is different today. Listening to your body is not fear. It is wisdom learned through decades of life. It is a form of self-respect. It is how you protect your independence, your speech, your memories, and the moments still waiting for you. You are not a burden for seeking help early. You are not dramatic for paying attention to brief symptoms. You are someone who understands that prevention is the most compassionate choice you can make for yourself and for the people who love you. Awareness gives you control. Awareness gives you choices. Awareness gives you the chance to intervene before a small warning becomes a life-changing event. Whether it is a moment of numbness, a slip in your speech, a sudden dizziness, or a flash of confusion, these moments mean something. And when you listen to your body, you give yourself the gift of time. In the next part, we will bring everything together with a heartfelt closing message, a reminder of your strength, and an invitation to continue your health journey with clarity, confidence, and hope. As we reach the end of our time together today, I want to speak to you not just as a doctor, but as someone who has walked beside thousands of older adults on their health journeys. Your body has carried you through a lifetime of memories. It has weathered storms, celebrated joys, and stayed strong through decades of change. The early signs we talked about today are not threats meant to frighten you. They are your body's way of protecting you, just as it has always done. Every flicker of numbness, every brief moment of confusion, every slip in speech is a message that your brain is fighting to keep you safe. These early signs are not moments of fear. They are windows of opportunity. They remind you that your future is still yours to shape, and that small decisions in the present can protect everything you love. When you understand what your body is trying to say, you step into a place of confidence and control. You begin to see that knowledge does not make you anxious. It makes you powerful. It gives you the tools to act quickly, protect your independence, and preserve the moments that matter most. Your daily choices play a far larger role than you may realize. A walk after dinner, a glass of water before bed, checking your blood pressure, choosing foods that nourish your heart, going to sleep a bit earlier. paying attention to how your body feels in small moments. These tiny steps guard your future. They help keep your thinking sharp, your balance steady, your speech clear, and your heart and brain strong. And please remember, you are never alone in this. Here at Senior Health Daily, I am right here beside you. I am here to guide you, support you, and help you understand your body with compassion and clarity. Your health journey still has beautiful chapters ahead. Stay close, stay curious, and stay empowered. And if this message has touched you or helped you in any way, I invite you to subscribe so we can continue walking this path together, one healthy step at a time.